So I'm logged in into my AWS console, and first thing would be to upload the training and testing dataset into S3. So I'm going to move on to S3. You can see that in my case it's already shows under recently visited, but you can just type on the search bar S3 and it will filter, and S3 will show on the top. Click on it and you'll be headed into the S3 landing page. I already have some buckets in here. Actually, I already have the bucket for the application we will be boosting with machine learning, so I'm going to drill down into it. I have 3 folders in here. One of them is train, in order to hold the training data set. And actually, I already have some training data set previously uploaded. But for the sake of this demo, I'm going to head and create a new folder. Give it a name v2, create folder. And now drill into this newly created folder and upload my training and testing dataset. So as you can see, I have 2 CSV files. One is for testing, one is for training. So the training holds about 1,000 records. Those 2 files were created by exporting the AgilePoint application data source, the data from the AgilePoint application data source. So I'm just gonna select both of them, drag them into my folder, and click on the upload. And those should be uploaded very quickly. Those are small files, and they are uploaded. We are ready to and set, and we are good to go. We have the training and testing data set ready in S3. So next thing would be to build and train the model. So for this, we'll need to go ahead into Amazon SageMaker. And as you can see, it shows on my favorite on the console bar on the top. But again, if you don't have it, then just search for SageMaker and you can see Amazon SageMaker, click on it and you'll be headed into the Amazon SageMaker landing page. Now, one of the coolest thing about the AgilePoint SageMaker is that it's a complete tool set with all the different tools you'll need in order to build, train and deploy sophisticated machine learning. One of the tools we'll be using, or one of those included with SageMaker and we'll be using for this demo, is the Canvas. So let's click on it. And Canvas is actually a no-code automated machine learning studio, which basically allows any user to build sophisticated machine learning models. As it's a no-code, you are not required to know machine learning scripts language or sophisticated algorithm. It's basically a no-code environment and will guide you through the procedure in order to build and train models. So we'll need to launch the Canvas. So from the Launch app, click on Canvas. Now, in the interest of time, since launching the Canvas may take a few minutes, I already launched it ahead of time, so I have it open on this next tab. I'm going to head into this next tab, and that will be the Canvas landing page. Once it's launched, you will get into this landing page, and as you can see, in my case, I already have 2 models previously created. Both of them are ready, meaning they are ready to be used for prediction. You can see that they have a relatively very high score in terms of the prediction. And we'll be focusing on creating a new model today. So let's click on the new model. Let's give it a name, college enrollment -canvas, and hit the create. Now, again, as this is a no-code environment, and as you can see, very friendly one, it will walk you through kind of a wizard to take you through the main steps to build and train a new model. So the first thing would be to select the training dataset. As you can see, I already have some dataset previously used. Now I'm going to use the one we just recently uploaded. So I'm going to click on the import from S3, and drill into my college enrollment bucket, drill into the training folder, drill into the V2 folder, and here I have the two files we recently uploaded. I'm going to select both of them, click on the import data, and they will be imported into the Canvas workspace to be ready to use for building this model. So they are ready. Let's open the training dataset just to see what we have in here. So again, this will only show 100 rows from this data set. And again, as mentioned, this data set was created by exporting the college enrollment Agile Point application data from the college enrollment data source. So basically, these are history college enrollment application data, and we can see it includes the student full name, the state, the course, the academic year, the salary, the family income or salary, grading 10 class, grading 12 class, and some other information required as part of college enrollment application. And the key part is the eligibility. That's actually the final decision. While going through the process for review and approve this college enrollment, eventually we will get the decision, the final decision, whether this specific student is eligible to enroll for this course in academic year or not. And basically that's what we will be train our model to predict based on this information and this data set. The model will be trained in order to predict this eligibility column, and that's what we call a supervised learning training. Supervised, basically the easiest way to understand supervised training is that when the data is already classified, when we have the final result, then the machine learning can read this data, can try and understand different patterns within this data and how they impact on this specific column, and by this build a model that will help us to predict the model. Put it in a very simple manner. So that's basically our data source. And let's close this and let's select this training data source and click on the select dataset. And now we'll head into the build stage, where we will need to tune how we are building the model. And as you can see, first of all, on the bottom, we'll see some information from the dataset, some summary on the dataset. We have total of 17 columns, total of 1,000 rows, and total of 17,000 cells. So this would be columns times rows. And he identified the different columns and classified them into data types. So we have some text files, text columns. We have some binary columns, that is, like yes, no, true, false. We have some categorical columns, meaning there's very few different options, repeatable across the different rows, and some others. Now we'll see, it also provide us some useful information to understand this data, like how many unique records, how many unique values we have for any given column, what is the missing rate. In some cases, in some training data set, for some of the rows, some of the columns may be empty. In our case, and that's again one of the key values, or the key values when we already have an Agile Point application, because the process audit the data, collect the data, and make sure the data is valid and quality level, then this will produce a very high quality training data set to train and build the model. So the next thing, or the actual two main things about this, is now we need to select the column to predict. So out of these columns, out of the column available within this data set, which of the columns we would like the model to predict. And we'll just drop this list, open this drop down, and we'll select the eligibility column. And now the model, the Canvas immediately identified this is a binary type column, it has the value of yes or no. For that, it's a binary, and we can see that about 73.30, not about 73.30 records has the value of yes, the other has the value of no. And since this is a binary column to predict, then the model type is two category prediction. And you can see that we can click on the change model, and Canvas allows us to choose from 4 different algorithms to build the model. But I'm going to keep it as it is because that's the right algorithm to use for this model. So close this. And one more thing to note is that Canvas already understood that we have this notification on a column. So he identified that the academic year does not really help and does not really value to any type of prediction on this eligibility. So it already removed it. It recommends to remove it from the training data set, and so it is not value. We don't need it, so we can remove it, and I'm good with that. I'm going to keep it this way. And now that we are fine with the build and how the build is configured, we can go ahead and either click on the quick build or click on a standard build. Now, quick build will take roughly between 2 to 15 minutes, and it's basically, it will only use some of the records within this data set to try and quickly build a model, so we can see its analysis and try to run some predictions, so we can evaluate whether that's the right model we are trying to get. Or we can go with a standard build. Will build the model itself, and this will take between 2 hours to 4 hours, depending on the size of the data set. Our data set is just 1,000 rows, so this should be on the low level, about 2 hours, even actually a bit less than that. And I'm gonna hit with the standard build for now, and I'm gonna click on the standard build to start the build process. And again, this will take between 2 to 4 hours. I would guess slightly less than 2 hours. I'm gonna hit a timer so we can see how much time it really take. And as the build progress, we will get some information updated in here. So as you can see, it expects the build time to take 1 hour and 45 minutes. As I assumed, it will be slightly less than 2 hours. And at this point, we can just go on a break and wait for the Canvas to complete the build. And we'll resume once it's done to see what we got.